Hey guys, Sanan Rider here. This is going to be my chapter review to My Hero Academia or Boku no Hero Academia 151. Mirio Togata! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Now, this chapter was actually, I really like this chapter once again. I mean, we knew last chapter that this was going to be a dope chapter. We knew it's going to be Mirio versus Overhaul. And with two named chapters after, they've been named after Mirio Togata, it doesn't really hold up well for Mirio because I think he might die in these next coming chapters. But I really don't want him to die because I don't want. I'll talk about that later. But I don't want. Actually, I'll just talk about that later. So yeah, let's start off with the actual chapter, Mirio versus Overhaul. So once again, I enjoyed this concept of psychological warfare, and it was prominent once again in this chapter, in the early part of this chapter. This time, Overhaul tries to get Eddie. He tries to convince her that this isn't the way they should go about this, and that she should give up on her hero, which is Mirio, and return to Overhaul himself. Otherwise, she's gonna get him killed. She's gonna get a lot of people killed. So he tries to attack mentally a child, which he seems to have been doing very well for the last however many years or months. He's had Miri on her. He's had Eddie on him. So then Overhaul activates his power, we see, and he activates his quirk. And there's this dope ass single page where he's just activating it. But the thing that I noticed while I was checking that page, and I think a lot of people would have noticed, is it seems to confirm that he does need to actually make contact with whatever he's manipulating to activate his quirk. He does need to touch it because he touches the ground before the ground blows apart into little smithereens because he's disassembled it. And then we see the whole fight scene where through the fight, Mirio is having to use his quirk intelligently to simultaneously save Eri while saving himself. So he has to keep parts of his body, most likely his hands, tangible, while the rest of him is intangible because he's letting things pass through him which are trying to kill him. And actually, these spines and stuff that Overhaul is reassembling at like light speed. They also are trying to attack Eddie, so he has to get Eddie out of harm's way and keep his hands tangible so that he can hold her up while making himself intangible. So seeing Mirio have to use his quirk intelligently really showcases how much practice and how much training he's gone through. So it was really fun to see that. Overhaul, as I said before, is actually prepared to thoroughly damage, even like borderline or thoroughly kill Eddie, because he can just use his quirk to reassemble her, and then he seems to know how to resuscitate her as well. So we see this really cold side. Well, we have always seen that cold side to Overhaul, but he's really, this time it was just more of a demonic side. He's lost his humanity, and that was kind of what this chapter was almost talking about. And there was like an underlying tone of it of Chisaki or Overhaul has lost his humanity, and he's lost his way, and he's lost his way on the path of the Yakuza. So yeah, we then see Mirio use his cape in an intelligent manner. Now, this whole fight was fun because we got to see two people who, in terms of brute force, they're both pretty dope because of their quirks and because of their training, i.e. Overhaul and Mirio. But they're both very intelligent fighters as well. So it was nice to see a different form of fighting. It wasn't just brute force versus brute force. It was brute force as well as intelligence. And they were trying to outthink each other. It was like a chess game all the way through. So Mirio uses his cape to hide his presence and hide Eddie's presence when they make contact with the ground and when Chrono was trying to shoot him. And he knew that they would only get a clean shot on him if Overhaul or Chisaki disassembles that whole spiked arena thing he made. So he knew that would happen. So he throws his cape in the way and he puts him off, and Chrono misses the shots. But he also throws his cape in front of him because it actually covers their line of sight and they can't see Mirio anymore. So he phases through the ground. Which allows him to attempt to take out Chrono. Now, like I was saying before, this was all like a chess game. We get to see Overhaul's attentiveness, and it really knows no bounds. He's so attentive. He actually manages to save Chrono from getting his ass kicked from Mirio's Shoryuken, basically, because Mirio phased through the ground and then kind of jumps up again right underneath Chrono, and he's like Shoryuken, but we see that Overhaul quick time assembles like this. These a few pillars that push Chrono out of the way, but Chrono loses his gun. And then we see Mirio's insightfulness. Like I said before, this was an awesome chapter in terms of just fighting intelligently. Mirio's insightfulness into Overhaul's character and his persona was was really really well done. He's really understood exactly what Chisaki or Overhaul stands for and what type of character he is. He correctly assumes that Overhaul will go for Eri once Mirio himself has gone and he's trying to take out Chrono and stuff. So while that's happening, Overhaul's like, yeah, I've got my chance. I'm gonna go take out Eri while she has no protection. And it was a very intelligent decision of Mirio to place her on the ground or to place her somewhere while he was fighting, because he couldn't take care of her and himself at the same time while fighting two of these. I forgot what they even call them, because the name keeps changing, these two precepts. So that was really fun to see, and I liked the intelligence once again that Mirio and Overhaul were displaying throughout this fight. So then we just get this part where Mirio's like, he's basically really asserting himself in the fight, and then he just starts to pummel Chrono and Overhaul, and you could see the hope in Eddie's eyes really reignite, and it becomes a really awesome part of the chapter, because you get to see a child who has lost all hope, all faith in humanity, basically, and even she'd lost hope and her faith in Mirio, because he was one of the two heroes who left her there with Chisaki when she first met them. So it really reignites everything, all the faith she has in humanity and people, when she sees Mirio kicking the shit out of Chrono and Overhaul. So then we get a flashback, and we see, because Chisaki's getting his ass beat so hard, Overhaul, he has this flashback, and he seems to have been either orphaned or abandoned as a child, and then we see the old man Yakuza, who they were all calling the old boss and stuff, the leader of the Yakuza, who's bedridden at this moment in time. He takes him in. He's like, you ain't got no place to call home. So he must have been like, yeah, you can come with me and call my place home. So he takes in Chisaki like that. But it seems that he says he abandoned his name of Chisaki, and he doesn't like being called Chisaki. But it seems he abandoned his name when he abandoned the path of humanity, which old man Yakuza told him not to travel down. He was like, nah, that idea you've got, which is the idea they're currently executing, that idea you've got, it's not a path of humanity, and it's not the path of the Yakuza. So not only did he abandon his name, but when he abandoned his name, he abandoned the path of the Yakuza, and he abandoned the path of humanity. So he'd lost loyalty to those three things: his Yakuza background, his humanity, and his name. So he'd lost all that. But what he'd gained in expense for his lack of loyalty in those things was loyalty from other people, because the old man Yakuza said, you won't gain any. No one will follow a brute with no heart. So even though he lost loyalty in those things, he still gained someone's loyalty. And that was Nemoto. We see his backstory, and it was kind of a weak backstory. I gotta admit, we've seen this backstory in a number of animes, a number of mangas, and it's just the same thing over and over again. I would have preferred to see a more original type of backstory, like maybe they did something together. I don't know, but Overhaul was the only person who drew him Nemoto closer upon discovering his skills, i.e., he can draw the truth from people. So yeah, then we see that right at the end, Eddie is going to be shot at. Now Mirio has a decision to make now. He can either take the shot for Eddie, because he can't phase through the shot because it'll hit Eddie anyway. So he can either take the shot for Eddie, or he can let Eddie take the shot from Nemoto, which is going to be one of those bullets which disables your quirk for a certain amount of time. We don't even know whether this one is the more potent one, and it may get rid of your quirk altogether, so we don't know that. And if Eddie gets shot, what can Mirio do but hand her over to Overhaul? Because what Overhaul mentions is he actually sealed the exits around the room. Another intelligent move from Overhaul. So what I mentioned at the beginning of this chapter was, I hope Mirio doesn't die. Let's just talk about the theme of the chapter. There was like this really really slight undertone of where your loyalties lie in this chapter, but once again, it was just that psychological warfare thing that really had me going. And for me, the theme of the chapter was Mirio's reigniting. It was reigniting hope, and you see that all the way through, where Eddie's slowly regaining her hope and faith in people. So I hope Mirio doesn't die. But someone on Manga Stream said why I hope Mirio doesn't die perfectly. So what they said was, I don't know who exactly it was, and this isn't exactly what they said, but paraphrasing, I don't want Mirio to die just because I don't want Deku to be handed the title of the best hero and the true inheritor of One for All just because it was kind of thrown upon him or thrust upon him. I want him to have earned his title. So I don't want him to be the best hero because Mirio died. I want Mirio to still be alive and still be kicking ass, but Deku's just better than him. That's what I prefer. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. I really enjoyed it. I liked the whole seeing Eddie regain hope. I liked seeing that Chisaki kind of abandoned the Yakuza way, abandoned the way of humanity, abandoned his name, and even though he was told he wouldn't gain people through being a brute, he has actually gained people, and maybe it's because he hasn't lost his humanity totally. Maybe he is more human than he actually wants to be. Maybe that's what the old man Yakuza. Maybe that's what we can infer from what the old man Yakuza was saying in the flashback. So let me know what you guys thought. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in a bit.